in the upper room work. And the guidance I got today for today's class is a little divergent from the class outline, but just know that we'll cover, by the end of the series, we'll cover what all the main topics on here, but maybe not in that exact order. Tonight I've given you this printout called The 7 Levels of God's Reality Ladder. We spoke briefly last week about the concept of using this map of consciousness, thinking about it as an elevator or a ladder of abstraction, going from physical level of contracted form, so heavy that the eye can perceive it, to the level, other extreme of the 7th level, as so expanded that it becomes the void. And tonight I'd like to examine each of the levels, and you can take this home with you and play with it and get more clarity every week as you work. I also want to ask you about your sacred objects. Who did you choose as your soul team, and how did it go? Your assignment, I'm aware your assignment was multi-level. It was to get acquainted with your body elemental, your soul, your God self, your wise male, your wise female. Let's start with your sacred team. Who did you choose, or who appeared this week to be on your sacred council in your soul chamber? Did I start with the wrong question?
Well, I guess I kind of forgot to do that part, but I did get in touch with my elemental.
Great. Tell us about, usually it's a her, usually it matches the gender.
It was a her. The first time I didn't when I tried. It was kind of, I didn't get anything, so I kind of said what you told me to say.
Great.
And then the next time I did, and I think her name is Justine.
Good, and you wrote this all down, I trust.
And she was like a tall, statuesque type, and she was golden. But it seemed funny because she was like inspecting my whole body.
A little personal, maybe?
Well, just kind of checking it out, and kind of like from head to toe.
And that's her job. That's what she is assigned to do. Great, that's good work. Did you get any symbols, fragrances, colors, anything else to anchor her, like a signature?
No.
All right. And sometimes you can ask for that, or you may not need it. You just feel their presence, or they come when you call them. The name is a definite anchor that you want to have, but the other images may or may not come with each one. How about for Ruth? What was your experience?
I didn't get anything in the elemental.
Ah, okay.
And on my team, I had Dracul.
Dracul is right up here.
And Dalai Lama.
Wonderful.
Kuan Yin.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that suits you. I can see that.
And it's Mary at the end.
Mother Mira.
Mother Mira.
She's
right.
alive today and lives in Germany.
Right. That was basically the
That's a fabulous team. And look at how balanced it is. 2 males and 2 females. That's interesting. And 2 on the inner and 2 who are in flesh. You're balanced, little cookie over there. Okay.
How do you spell Dracul?
D-J-W-A-L-K-H-U-L.
It's the one thing I was aware of is because I've never had followed gurus or never had teachers on a physical plane, really, or even major teachers like that. And I'm aware that I'm kind of coming into a new phase, and where I'm very attracted to certain teachers.
Yeah.
I really work with them. They're so
And what we usually discover at that turning point is they've been working with us for years. We just haven't identified that
Yeah,
strand of
yeah,
luminosity in our energy body. So you can see how just this exercise alone is one of discernment and awakening and getting sensitive. We did nothing else other than this. But the value of the mapping, the value of the spiritual mapping, and working with the God's reality ladder here is, I guess the best way I can describe one of the primary values is when I work with students, and the ones who really do well, who really move ahead and evolve and burn off karma and make the leaps, are the ones, when I watch their energy body, when I watch them psychically, you know those mnemonic pipes at the bank when you drop your checks in the drive-up window, chute, and it's sucked over to the lady behind the window. It's like there's pipes like that going to every one of these levels. So it's a filing system. It's an instantaneous computer organizer of data. In other words, when I feed them, I'm working with you multiple levels. I'm working with you on any level that you will be fed. And I'm prodding, begging, pleading, seducing, confronting different aspects of your being in these classes. And I'm working with your soul. And whenever there's an opening for you to learn something, then it gets sucked in. For people who have studied this map, it gets sucked in and sent to the precise place that it's needed. And this information, this consciousness, this spark of divine energy that comes through these teachings is like vitamins to whatever body they go to. And the students who do the best in initiation work, which comes later on, are the ones who know their spiritual anatomy. They've done the mapping, so they've got the map, and then when you feed it to them, without their conscious knowing, it goes right to where the right body. It'll maybe do a little chiropractic adjustment in the belief systems. Which body is that, class? Mental body. Or it might do a little chiropractic adjustment, reconfiguring or reframing their emotions, which would be the second body. Some people literally get chiropractic adjustments to their physical body. The Kundalini moves through these sacred energy teachings. The Kundalini moves and will feed your pancreas or your liver, whatever part of your body needs it. And it's funny, in some of the classes, you can hear sometimes people's bones actually will crack, like you hear in a chiropractic adjustment, because that's what's happening. So the more conscious you can be of the different aspects of your being, the different levels, different parts of your spiritual anatomy, you will grow faster. That's what I know. So that's one of the values of this training. And it comes very subtly sometimes. And sometimes it's like what Ruth experienced with your inner teachers. Sometimes you'll be working with these different zones, and 2 years later you'll realize, oh, that's what that was. But just having the map and talking about it and calling it into consciousness and consciously meditating on the different levels, just that alone opens up neural pathways and energy pathways. Very powerful. Okay, so Ruth, did you get any other connections? Did you say higher, the wise male, wise female, the soul, the God self?
Well, I always feel like I don't ever get it in a normal way. I felt very in touch with a wise woman.
Oh boy, I get a true signal on that. She's a powerful ally for you.
She's a very powerful ally for me. And it's funny, I was talking to somebody this week about Crohn's. And this woman was about my age and so forth, and she didn't want to deal with Crohn's.
God, that's where
I
the
said,
action
oh,
is. You're
I
kidding.
said, that's such a
Yeah.
wonderful,
That's the juiciest
it.
portion of the whole human kingdom.
and, and I was so turned on, I realized I was so turned on to that, and that I was really, my wise woman was really coming forth, you know, and I was able to say to her, you know, it's a part of myself I feel wonderful about.
Oh.
And then she said, well, maybe I'm not ready to be a crone. And I said, that's probably true.
Yeah, exactly.
You
Yeah.
know?
Her mental body needs adjustments, and so does her
Yeah,
emotional body.
yeah. So
She's got the.
so
People
that's
don't like
very
the word.
strong for me.
Your mind gets in the way. Okay, you're an artist. It'd be wonderful if you could draw a picture or a sketch or charcoal or anything, or pastel of your wise woman, because at the level of the, which level does the wise woman appear at?
So,
Nope.
let's see. I think intuition, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the psychic body, the fourth level. Your wise man and your wise woman guide you there, and they administer the lower three bodies and the fourth body. Every one of these upper rooms, every one of these higher selves that oversees each of these upper rooms has access to all the information from all the other bodies, but they translate it differently. It's the way they put information together that feeds you and elevates your growth. Okay, so if you could draw her that and bring it to class, would be lovely.
I'm not an artist when it comes to drawing, but I will. I'll do
Sculptor,
something.
make a necklace. You probably have already made necklaces celebrating her,
That's an
actually.
interesting idea.
Yeah.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah, any kind of expression that you can put into physical embodiment is like an umbilical cord. It will strengthen your connection with her. It honors her, for one thing. It's delightful. You know what it feels like to them? You know when your child goes to first grade and they bring home their first little picture or handicraft item, and how proud we are as parents. It's like that. It just delights the higher side in our teachers when we do that. It honors them, and it sends up ripples through the whole cosmos. Okay, any other information for you this week, Ruth, that you want to share?
What were the four of them again? Wise man, wise woman?
Well, there's actually 5 if you look at it that way. There's 4 levels. The body elemental operates on what level?
The physical?
Physical, which is the first good. The wise man and the wise woman operates at what level? The 4th level, which is the psychic body. And then the soul operates at the 5th body, which is the soul level. And then the God Self operates at the 6th level, which is the spiritual body. Yay! Barbara's here. Hi. Oh, we're glad you're here. And there's a handout there for you. We are just about to start. We're just finishing reviewing homework assignments.
The other thing would be the soul.
Yeah.
That level's very strong for me.
I was going to say, what the energy I was picking up is your soul is very close to your wise woman, and so you may confuse them, or they may reveal themselves in a way that's so similar to you, even vibration-wise and impact or visuals or whatever, that you might have to really ask this week for more information so you can tell them you want to be able to discern them.
Okay, I do know that the soul level, it's from my soul level that I want to connect with other people. I'm
Talk
very
about
aware of that.
On the inner world, you mean?
Well, when I meet people, or when I spend time, really spend what I call significant time with people,
Yeah.
my picture always is that
That's
I want to
true
connect
about
on the level of
you.
the soul.
You're a soul collector. A soul connector.
Well, and I feel like the
you know
work
how
I
to do
want to
that.
do
Yep.
has to do with touching at that level, working
Right.
with people at that level. So as a healer, I don't think of myself as, say, a physical healer, hands-on or whatever. I probably can do that,
Yeah.
but it has much more to do with soul.
Oh, I agree. And that's really a gift that you have, a talent. That's your strand of luminosity, is your soul connector. It's like you see, actually your mode of being is feeling, but you feel people's souls.
That's
That
right.
means you feel their perfection. And because you hold that on earth, when they get around you, there's a vibration that vibrates in them that connects them with their soul. Even if you didn't say anything. You do this in department
say
stores
this is not
and
something
fruit
that I do
stands. Yeah, you do
talking
this.
about it. It's
You do. It's your nature. It's your design. It's the frequency of vibration that is your pattern. That's a wonderful gift.
So those two are the strongest for me at this point.
Okay, good. Did you get names? So you got your work cut out for you this week then to go back and get names. Get as many sensory signatures as you can. What do they smell like? You can ask them. You can say, reveal your fragrance, or oh, hi one.
Galvin Plum.
How about, yeah, some of these fragrances. How about Sherry? Did you want to share? Any other experiences? We didn't actually go through all the cells.
I did have something else that happened, and I'm trying to discount it right now. But I don't think I should, because what was happening for me is I would be just in the bedroom or in the bathroom, and I kept hearing like ohms.
Oh, good. That's the cosmic sound, divine sound current.
Okay, and so
Crazy,
okay. And the first time I kind of thought, okay, you are going a little crazy or whatever. I just kind of ignored it, and then when I heard it in the morning again, I thought, well, I'm going to meditate on it and see what happens. And I did, and what it was I got a group of monks.
Oh my! And this is what was your Chuk? What was your
Chuk.
Chuk?
Chuk.
Oh, was that his life?
I think it was a monk. Yeah. And at first I wasn't sure. I asked what. There was one person there, but I wasn't. It was like the communication was just going back and forth, not really. He wasn't speaking.
Yeah, sometimes it's telepathic a lot of the time. And then our brains, it trickles down to the physical apparatus of our brain and translates into words through our mental body.
And I felt like I was in the Hall of Wisdom.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And
Now that's at the soul level, the Hall of Wisdom.
and what he asked me during my meditations to do 3 ohms. And he also said that it was important for me to continue my education and my spiritual training.
Mm-hmm.
And when I asked who he was, he didn't give me a name. He said, one of the whole.
Yeah. That's how they talk. It's so enigmatic sometimes. It's beautiful. There's poetry. I don't know what it means, but...
And before I meditated, I always thought, I also thought that there might be a message for you, and so I asked.
Oh, thank
And
you.
he just put his hands together and
Oh, thank you so much. Oh. Oh. I love it when that happens. What a gift. And he's gifting me now. I don't know if you can feel my heart chakra. It's like it's flying from you to me, imprinting my energy body with new vitality and more energy. Could you feel that?
I feel something.
That was the exchange right there in the inner planes. Through you, because you were willing to open yourself and be a channel.
It's so great that she sees pictures. I'd love to see pictures.
Well, you will. We'll help you translate over time, because you're clairsentient and you feel things. You have direct knowing, and we'll help you translate over time. sometimes you'll think you're making the picture up. People experience pictures who are clairsentient. It's not so much like sitting in a movie. But if I asked you, well, what color was your so-and-so wearing, you would know. Like, what color is associated, what color is your higher self wearing, the wise woman? There you go. See, so you see in a different way. You just have direct knowing. But you've got to, in your design, you have to stop and ask the question. It's like you're on to the next thing because you've got the energy template. You've got the imprint, so you can index it and go back there. But in order to develop your psychic abilities for someone with your design, you have to ask. You have to say, take yourself through it like you would a child, through the 5 senses. And you can say, what do your toes look like? What does your face look like? Etc., like that. What are you wearing? What's that made out of? All of that sort of questioning, interviewing. Good work, Sherry.
Yeah. This is what Judith means when she says she's working with people. They're asking me to work with them. So
What do you mean? Who's they?
Well, the monks, they asked me to do 3 ohms at my meditation.
Yes,
And
yes.
He also expressed, he said that we've been working for thousands and thousands of years.
With? Oh, doing what?
One of the whole.
I don't know.
The whole.
I don't know.
The whole enchilada.
I don't know.
But
I don't know.
close your eyes and tune in now. And align. What's his name? The monk. Can you call him the monk? Does that fit? You need to choose a handle. It's like tuning in a dialing in a station on the radio. So he revealed himself as the monk, or the Om, or what do you call the one of the whole?
One of the whole.
One of the whole. Okay, that's his name. So call him that, and see him. Use all your signatures, your 5 senses, and ask him what he meant by when he said we've been working for thousands of years. Say, doing what? With whom?
Spiritual enlightenment.
And ask him, for whom?
The universe.
Okay. Ask him how, in what manner.
Consciousness.
Excellent. And you interview him. Tell him thank you very much, and you have your manners, your etiquette, your spiritual etiquette. Thank you very much. One of the whole. And always ask, will you continue working with me? Because you want him to come back. If you do. What does he say?
It's just a yes and a stop.
Could you also tell him thank you very much from Judith? That I enjoyed his message and I appreciate who he is and his energy feeding. Good. See how close it is? It's just a thought away. But we never think to ask the question. We're not trained in those to think like that.
Mm-hmm.
So all you have to do is reorient yourself and really imagine, it feels like you're imagining it first, but treat the inner being just like you would an outer being. You wouldn't walk right past them, ignore them. You would be polite. You'd be present. You need to learn how to be present when they show up instead of asleep. So if a friend showed up, you'd say, where do you live? What's your job? Well, you get to know them. So I'd like you to start interviewing these inner beings and like that, especially the ones on your council. Okay, good. Would you like to share your homework results?
Barbara?
All right, let me ask you now. Who's on your team?
Well, the only meditation I did this week was the one when you said at 9 this morning. Actually, I did a couple, but there wasn't anything that really happened There was 3 I did, but that was the one, I did that one, so.
Okay, good.
um,
Okay, so close your eyes now.
It's called making up the homework.
It's called training you to do your homework next week.
I get to do it with all
yeah, the pressure's too big.
You can do it at home, or you can do it while we're all watching you.
Barbara. I was gonna go, but she got me.
You gotta be
Too
quick. She
quick.
pounces like a jungle animal.
Well,
What?
there was, last week when I was here, there was individuals I was very drawn to immediately.
Those are your counsel. There we go. Tell us which
I'm
one.
most drawn to the man down there.
In orange.
I don't know if that's because I'd like to be attracted to him in this lifetime.
The man in orange is that one.
No, that one right there.
Oh, that's Babaji, the Hurakan Baba. Did I tell you his story?
Well, I read the back of the card too. It said I was questioning that. He materialized out of ether.
Yeah,
Into his
yeah.
his present
He's
body.
known, his specialization is immortality. And what is it? Oh, let me remember. He was in meditation for 45 years
think it said
without
45
eating,
days.
sleeping, or... Oh,
It said 45 days on the back
okay,
there.
maybe that's it. Yeah, why don't you read
It
it
said,
to us?
I can never pronounce all these names. Harakan Baba
Yeah, that's right.
manifested, this is the part I didn't understand, manifested his adult body from the ethers in a cave near Harakan, India.
See, not everybody's born.
That's why I read this a few times ago. I mean, he like gathered himself up in a cave. Okay.
See, so isn't that interesting? And not everyone is real either. So you have to begin addressing what you've been calling your life in reality quite
I
differently.
started thinking about that in connection with the Men in Black, which they've been doing a whole lot of stuff on.
Is that a good show?
No, not the movie.
Oh.
Literally the Men in Black.
Who are the men in
The
black?
Men in Black apparently are half robot, half human,
Oh, I see. Uh-huh.
and that they work directly with the hierarchy. And their role on the planet is to keep things technology from moving too quickly.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, there's a
I
whole
wouldn't.
thing. We won't
I
go
work with
into
the
it.
hierarchy, and I wouldn't call him like that. Sounds awful, like a real technological, mechanical description. I wouldn't like bionic. It's closer to the bionic. If I'm following your description, it sounds like the bionic woman or the bionic man.
Well, anyway, whatever it is, it's not what we normally think.
Yeah,
of as people. I think that
but
was
it's
my
not
point, was
mechanized in that technological fashion. It's just a whole different vibratory realm, really. It's far more complicated than a machine or a bionic person or robotics would be. But that is true. I mean, that point is true.
Yeah,
I don't know how the movie industry is a little bit warping it around.
Well, that was just sort of a spoof on the whole thing.
Yeah, I see. Huh.
Anyway, that's a whole different thing. But I'm
Right.
just simply saying these
Yeah.
people appear from.
From the ethers,
From
and
the
there are
ethers,
walk-ins. There's lots of ways for them to manifest. Are you familiar with walk-ins in this
That's when
class?
someone else comes into another's body.
Yeah. When one person's soul contract is up and they're not really interested in physically dying, but they turn their vehicle, the mature body, over to another spirit that comes in.
Well, I had an experience about 20 years ago where I felt very strongly that I was being asked to share my body with another being and not to leave it.
Yeah.
completely.
I think you were
Like
training them. They do rhythm entrainments and all kinds. It's like read the manual. That's how they get the manual, so to speak. The ones who are being trained for walk-ins into human bodies. Or you could have been training one of these beings just to come. There's lots of cosmic beings that want to come here. And sometimes their contract changes, like they practice
Somebody
through
was practicing.
sharing, yeah. And they may or may not, depending on their level of evolution and their karma and their assignment and their contracts, they may or may not then come into choose a womb and come in that way, or they may come in another way through, as a walk-in. So anyway,
There he sat for 45 days in motionless meditation, not eating, drinking, or sleeping. He took over his ashram of previous incarnations in Hirakan, where people from all over the world visit him. He left his body in 1984. A master of great love and many powers, he multiplied food if needed and could dematerialize and rematerialize his body.
yeah, and if I remember, so Harakan Baba was the first one who lived in Harakan. If I remember, he lived for 100 years or 500 years, you know. He was, his signature was immortality. And he knew how to, as they say, materialize and dematerialize his body. There's different, you can bilocate, there's all kinds of different ways technically of doing that. But one definition of immortality, there's different definitions of immortality. And one definition is that a person doesn't, when you get to a certain vibratory realm, up around the sixth body, it's no longer necessary to go through the physical death of your anatomy. You can choose to, your date of departure, when you're going to go. It's not like we conceptualize ordinary death, where you're kind of a victim of your body breaking down one organ at a time. Once you get to that level, there's such high energy running through you that you can regenerate yourself. And even though there's kind of an entropic slowing down over time, death is not the way it is for ordinary mortals. It's more a decision. It's more, well, I've been here 500 years now. I'll go help somewhere else in the cosmos. And what happens is they either go, how do I want to explain this? This concept of immortality, I shouldn't say they go help somewhere else, but they just shift. It's like time for a shift. In other words, it's no great gift to be locked into one physical apparatus for eternity because of the wear and tear. Even if you have regenerative ability, it still is kind of boring. So they know they want to get a new vehicle, a new instrument, a new fresh view, a new tour guide, like that. So it's time, maybe in Harakan Baba's case after I don't know how many hundreds of years. Anyway, it's time he gets the contract, it's time to go. So there's no dissolution of his consciousness through the death experience as there is for most humans. Most humans experience death as a degeneracy of their body, and the body stops. Well, this is not the case with Harakan Baba, an immortalist. The body doesn't stop. It's a clear decision to move and get another body. And there's no loss of consciousness when they leave their body, which the human condition, they call it Mahasamadhi, when they leave their body with conscious awareness and they move into the void and dissolve, and then they come out and they can choose another body, one that's already mature, so they don't have to go through teething, learning how to walk, all that indignity.
So now they choose as a walk-in?
Yeah, they can choose as a walk-in a body that's been kept healthy, that has a good genetic DNA pattern, and the way walk-in exchanges happen in many, many fashions. I mean, there's tons of ways. Sometimes it's when people are depressed and they just don't know, they're stuck, and they just choose to get out of here. So they'll do a walk-in contract. Not every soul that comes in is as highly evolved as Harakan Baba. I don't want to suggest that at all. Most of these trafficked beings are rather mundane and rather shady deals. There's a lot of shady deals that go on with the walk-in stuff. There's intergalactics, it really is sort of like that bar in Star Wars. Remember that bar?
I love that.
I don't know, but it was my favorite part of the movie.
Oh, I love that bar. And that really is the way Earth is. We're really a melting pot, a conglomeration, a crossroads in the universe There's more heterogeneity here than any other place in the universe. So these walk-in exchanges can come from all kinds of motivations, all kinds of different
I just
places.
want to ask you one question. You say if somebody's very depressed or something
Yeah.
like that, and they want to leave
They're
their body.
stuck, yeah.
They're stuck. So they would leave it without losing consciousness. And
No,
so
not
that's what just
necessarily.
come in?
Not necessarily. Unless they've done the work to achieve mastery and focalize their being on the 6th level, which somebody who's depressed is not. They're focalized down around the 2nd body. So this is where the hand of God comes in, and it depends on their DNA and the soul contracts. It's very complex, and there's tons of different varieties of contracts and exchanges that are made. But in the case of Harikan Baba, pointing to this concept of immortality, immortality doesn't mean what we think it means, like, oh, you live forever in the same body. In his case, it means he did not lose, he had continuity of consciousness in the exchange. He never lost consciousness. And he can either come in through a walk-in exchange, or he can just simply materialize full-grown adult body, because he's that level of technical superiority and development. You know, this type of guy has been in and out of the void. You know, in the 7 days of meditation, he's in such a samadhi. Guess where he is? Where is he in this map? In the void. So he has what's called nirvikalpa samadhi. That's absorption in the void. That's the highest meditative technique. That's the highest samadhi. That's the Cadillac model. That's as high as you can go and still remain in flesh. And so he has the technical skill to do that. He's done such soul mapping, such spiritual mapping. He knows where it is, and he knows how to get there, and he knows how to get back to the physical level. So someone with that degree of mastery can just simply materialize. And he can even design if he wants to be in a female body or a male body. He has lots of choices, lots of freedom that walk-ins don't have. I'd be surprised if he would do a walk-in exchange, because there, as I say, walk-ins are usually not that high level. Some of them are, but there's no guarantee.
You know, I'm just a little bit off the subject, but I'm sitting here just struck by how much Sherry looks like him.
You're right. Oh, you're absolutely right.
Okay,
She's an artist. Look, she sees.
Well, but it was really interesting because when you're sitting really
You are
watching
right.
and concentrating, it's just striking how much you look like.
The eyes, those are
The
Sherry's
eyes
eyes,
and
and
the
the bone
cheek,
structure, and the lips, the whole thing. When Sherry goes into her soul levels and vibrates at that high level, she's at the same level. She's in the same soul cluster that he's at.
It's really amazing.
Aren't you glad you showed up in class, right? Tell your friends.
Put him on your team.
Hey, you're right.
If he's not already.
Yeah, I have a feeling he is already, but, read everything about him. And, Leonard Orr is one of our Gateway ministers, and he's on our board for the university, and he met Harikan Baba when he was still in his body. I think he passed over this time when in
84.
1980s, yeah. So Leonard Orr has written a book on immortality, where, and this picture is in it actually, where he went around, gone around the whole world and interviewed immortal masters. In fact, Leonard Orr is an immortalist. So he's in training, heavy-duty training in these advanced levels, to not lose the continuity of consciousness at the moment of his death. So he will then have options to come back in.
With still his orness.
Or with that, his orness is nothing. That's his outfit. That's the color he's wearing. He can choose anything at that level. Where you can come in, as I say, as a woman or with a different personality. The personality is only what the interface with the world. That operates at a very low vibratory range, the lower three bodies.
So his ordinance is, when I say ordinance.
But yeah, it
I guess
depends
I
what you
I'm
mean,
labeling
doesn't it?
Yeah, soul is soul. And
Oh, certainly his soul, his strand of luminosity, that's a good question. Each one of us has a very specific strand of luminosity, and that is encapsulated in the monad at the level of the spiritual body, and we're going to read about that tonight. It's in your sheets. Yeah, his monad would come back with him, but you have to be pretty astute spiritually to tune into somebody's monad. You know, you have to really get who they are, and that's not always apparent at the physical level. So it would come with a deep knowing of a person's soul quest. It goes beyond their soul, but it's related to their soul quest. And you can see it at the soul level too, like you have that ability. Does that answer your question?
no. When you say he doesn't lose consciousness.
An
consciousness-
immortalist.
Okay, the consciousness, like, what is the reduction? Where is
Consciousness is not identity.
This is when you're reduced. You're like reduced to
At
like
the
the
spiritual level, you're reduced to your monad. You've purified, you've thrown out everything to the point where all that's left. The job of the spiritual body, the job of the God self, is to dissolve you. Everything, shred of your identity, your attachment, so that there's nothing left of you except this thinnest shard of your core essence. And that's called your monad.
And that's what comes back if you don't lose consciousness.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean,
But that's
the body's
beyond
not
your
important.
soul.
It's not the body.
Right, it's not
the
your personality,
male, female, it's not that.
it's
but
not your, the way the world sees you, for example. Like he might come back and not be a writer or a revolutionary necessarily, except that isn't his monad. He is a revolutionary. Oh, I'm looking, maybe not, I don't know. I'd have to index that. But you'd have to find out, you'd have to go to his monad and find out what is irreducible. What part of God is he?
Okay, when I was thinking this, chemically, it's like when you reduce like a chemical like down to its atom, and it still remains
Yeah.
hydrogen.
Yeah, if you did anything else to it, you'd lose its
You
identity.
lose its-
Yeah,
it would
that's the
become
monad.
a part.
That the
That's-
essence of a person,
Okay.
the irreducible, that you can take everything else away, but if you take that away, they're no longer who they are. That's their monad.
That's what I meant.
That's
and I
the
understand
aspect
it that way.
of God.
That's
Yeah,
how I understand it.
yeah. So everybody's different, and we all are different aspects of God. Each one is a different strand of luminosity of God. The God spark is what's your essence, and that's maintained and preserved and protected throughout all your incarnations by the monad. And the monad exists in your sixth body, your spiritual body, and is presided over by your God self. And it's like the God self's job is to polish you down until nothing's left of you except your monad.
Makes you wonder what your monad is.
Well, yeah, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it's the irreducible part of you. And in our empowerment class, I'm going to have, in fact, I'd like you to start doing it now. One thing you must do as you do spiritual mapping is name your identity. Get conscious of your identity. And I'd like you to start naming your identity in all your meditations. Ask, who am I? And then write down whatever comes to you. And believe me, you will have a ton of descriptions by the end of 7 meditations. Because who I am at the personality level may or may not be very different from who I am at the soul level, or the psychic level, or the God, or the spiritual level. And we go through developmental phases, in the chronology of our life. So you have to separate out. What you do is you just name everything, and then you separate out what's irreducible, what's eternal, what's everlasting, and you might start off with wife, mother, daughter, who am I, teacher, whatever your job is, and then you go deeper and you'll get a lot of information. For example, at my soul level, my identity is I'm a high priestess. At the level of God realization, I'm Lumina. I'm the embodiment of light. I'm one of the building blocks of the universe. But you see, that's pretty hard to get to. That's pretty abstract. I know that because I've done the naming work. I've named my identity at every one of these levels. And I've gotten to know myself in that way. It's like my monad is this, it's like a rebar. It's like that core steel of light. It's a solid beam of light, indestructible light. And that's my monad. And that's one aspect of God. You see, God has zillions of aspects, limitless aspects. And it's your job to track down what is yours. What is your essence? What is your, at the level, what does your God self look like? That usually is a clue to your monad. What does your soul look like? If your soul had a visual image, or, start off with what does it feel like if you're clairsentient like Ruth? And then translate that into a visual. And this is how you get to know yourself.
Well, now I could do soul level in color.
Yeah, good. The soul level is in color, actually. Each level of identity is more abstract. For example, at the level of the fourth body, which is the psychic level, you have your wise man and your wise woman. They're very anthropomorphic. But at the level of the soul, my soul, I may have shared with you last week, is just a spinning ball. I came in through this angel door, so it's a solar angel, and she's just a spinning ball of orange, red, yellow flame. There's no anthropomorphic form there. Now, on some days when I meet her, to me she's a her, but that's just my human perception. She's told me in reality she's what do you call it? Asexual. She's not even androgynous, she's asexual. She's beyond duality. There is no male-female androgyny there. She's asexual. And but my human side, my brain, my mind, my human side feels more comfortable thinking of her as a she, so I can access her, my data bank, more easily through my brain. So she lets me call her a she, but her name is Solara, which to me is a feminine name. But the way, when she reveals herself in her purest form, there's almost no form. She's a spinning ball of light. And color. And when my God self reveals, itself to me, again, there's no sex. That one is really asexual. Then it's just this incredible steel-like beam of Fohat, they call it. It's the electric white light, the divine light. And it's literally in a beam. It's like a laser beam. It's not diffuse light. It's not a ball of light, So that's as much form as you get at the higher levels. And the further, as I say, the further away you get from physical form, the less anthropomorphic will be these aspects of yourself.
So when you say, who am I, it doesn't have to be a physical description. I mean, in other words,
That
it
question,
could be a feeling, it could be colors, it could be...
If you ride your God elevator, if you go up this God ladder in your God elevator, like we did with Hitler last week, and you ask the question, who am I, at every level. In fact, that's your homework assignment. That's perfect, isn't it? To ask the question, who am I, at every level of your God ladder. And when you ask your physical body, you'll get one answer. When you ask your emotional body, you'll get another answer. When you ask your belief systems, call it your mental level, you'll get another answer. When you ask your psychic self, or your wise male and female, they'll show you something else. Your soul, you'll get a whole different answer. So this is indexing. Which reality do you want to talk about? That's a great assignment, Lou. Thank you. Oh, heavens. Okay, so where are we? Oh, so you found your one member routine. So you see how easy it is. You're not going to walk off of here.
No, I won't walk on it. She was getting off the top.
Getting awful cozy over there.
I'll walk away instead of walk in.
Yeah, right, walk away.
Walk away. Oh, so you see how easy it is. It's a thought away. Close your eyes and ask. See who shows up or what you're reminded of. That's it. That's your sacred team. So it's a thought away. All right, let's ask Barbara what her experience was this week.
Okay, I played a game. Well, I didn't just play a game this week. I've been noticing it's been happening. I've been like freezing time a little bit, like taking a
Great.
picture.
Good for you.
And I can do it. It's hard to do it with people because there's a lot of emotion. I get right back into my emotional body when there's people. But when I'm driving in a car, or if I'm somewhere, or I see a picture, I'll just freeze it and I'll just see it in like stop gap or stop. What do you call that? Like stop frame.
Stop frame photography.
Movement.
Yeah.
And it's easier to see that way. It doesn't escape me. And it's just a different way of slowing down time. So, and I can't always do it, and I do it when I'm kind of like empty inside, or just like, like no emotions, no will, no feelings, just kind of
You want to perk
ordinary.
yourself up and have a diversion?
I'm just kind of like, like when you daydream, you just kind of relax, everything's relaxed. Inside.
Oh, I see. When you're in alpha, yeah, kind of relaxed state.
Yeah. And I've been doing that, and I did do my elemental. I caught it last class. Was this fire? Like a person, like a fairy almost.
Yeah.
Kind of.
You told
like,
me she was a burning bush.
She was a burning. Well, okay, she's like
Excuse me.
She is.
For
She's like a
laughing.
fairy, but
So
the
cute.
body. In other words, she's burning, but she's got the body very sylph-like.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, well, I thought her head was right here in my lungs and my heart, and I thought, well, what's happening to my brain? It's left out in the cold. So then I brought her up to my brain here, and then her heart was where my heart and lungs were, and then her arms come down here. She doesn't extend all the way down to my legs. It's mostly right here and here.
Mm-hmm.
And when I need heat, like a lot of times I'll need heat in right here in my center, and she burns.
She balances your fluids.
Yeah, she
so
kind of
that
heats me up.
the
a little
water
bit. I kind of
element,
run
yeah.
cold sometimes.
Wow. What's her
She's
name?
orange. Ori?
Ori. How
Ori?
do you spell it?
O-R-E-Y. O-R-R-E-Y?
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Okay,
Ori.
good work, Barbara. Yes!
And she's there. She's when I eat right, and I'm good to myself. And it's a body elemental.
Yes, yes.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
She's around a lot. Because I'm
You
trying to
can
take care of.
call. Yeah, sacred eating is one of the disciplines in moving up the ladder, and you can call on your body elemental to keep you in line. Give you support, encouragement. Tell them how hard it is, because they don't know what the human experience is like. How would they know? So you've got to tell them, it's really tempting here. I'm depressed, and I need to comfort myself, and I think I'm going to lose it here. It's sort of like an AA phone call when you call your sponsor,
And I think the other, I wasn't, that's what I was practicing this week, more the stopgap time thing. And I noticed that when I'm listening to people or when I'm with people, a lot of times I'm not listening to them in the sense of their words. I'm absorbing their body, their face, their smell, their everything physical comes into me, and I'm watching them, and I know they're saying something important, so I rerun the tape back in my head.
Oh,
But now my tape is coming up to my actual. Everything's
good.
aligning
Alignment
a little
and
bit
integration.
more
Good.
because a lot of times what I do is because I have to sense if they're okay or not okay, or if I'm safe or not safe,
Yeah.
and in that sense, and or how to balance everything. I don't know
Yeah,
how to
yeah.
be with them or
What I think safety is.
yeah. And now it's like I'm actually hearing what they're saying.
So you're letting your body
they both
elemental
are.
handle the safety issue,
Yeah.
so you have the freedom and the energy to be present.
And it's really neat too, because
Right, you can live your life.
I was running behind all the time.
Yeah,
Play back.
Oh, that's fabulous, Barbara. What
Yeah.
a fabulous application.
And I learned a lot of stuff. Yeah, it's really neat.
And this is true. Once you once you build these highways in light, they're like neural pathways in your brain, and etheric energy in the cosmos. And once you build these connections with it, like, it goes a long way. Let me tell you. I mean, you can especially.
Oh yeah, you just told us we weren't born. I mean,
What?
You said some of us aren't born, so go ahead. Say it.
Some aren't born. What does that have to do with it?
You said, oh, maybe I shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
You already said some people aren't born.
Oh yeah, I said the worst. Okay, but well, in intimate relationships with people that you're really close to, it's so valuable when your partner's in a twit and it's their stuff, but you can be wounded by their stuff. You can really drain your energy bodies being around somebody who's angry or sad or whatever they're going through. But if you know how, if you've got your highways built, you just give all that stuff to your higher side. It's incredibly liberating. It allows you to not take personally what they're doing, to come back to know that you're a planetary avatar and that you're here to serve humankind, and what they're going through has nothing to do with you. It's like your human side will make up a story. Oh, I'm guilty. I caused it. Oh, I this, I that. When you know how to access your higher side, you can give it to your soul, give it to your God self. There's a God scoop I'll show you how to do. It's a vacuum cleaner in the sky. You just give it to your God, your spirit scoop, you don't have to handle that stuff anymore. And it's like what Barbara's just described. What a load off. God, now I get to live my life. Why do I do all that diversionary stuff anyway? You look back and you wonder why you carried such a load, before you learned about your spiritual anatomy and where to put what. I mean, you don't have to carry all this stuff. The human side doesn't, at least. Let the experts deal with it on the higher side. All right, good work. Barbara, any other comments before we go ahead? Well, let's look at the handout tonight's handout, which is, as I say, the 7 levels of God's reality ladder. And who'd like to read the first physical level? Good.
First level, the physical level, is the sacred site, the round table.
Yeah, and this is if you want to heal your body, or you're working out, you want to talk to your body elemental or your liver or whatever part of your body's hurting you, you can go to these higher chambers. Actually, you can go to your soul chamber or your round table. But the round table is at which level?
Intuitive?
The soul level?
What?
Intuitive?
The psychic level. And the psychic level is where your wise man and your wise woman sit at this round table. You can think of it as the kitchen table or King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. You can design your round table however you want, but they sit in the north, your wise man and your wise woman, and you, however, your primary self, however you think of as you on that given day, we call that your primary self, shows up in the south, opposite them. And you say to them, look, my liver's not working, or I can't get to sleep at night, or whatever physical issue you have in your body, you bring that along with your body elemental, and you just talk it out. And you don't even have to go to the sacred site like Barbara did. She interviewed her Ori, her body elemental, just naturally. So you don't have to always go to these sacred sites, but the sacred sites are refuges, and your upper room, where you can take your lower three bodies and their issues, and you can talk things out, you can hash things out. But you first have to get to know your body elemental before you can develop a conversation with her. Now, where you have that conversation is up to you. You don't always have to go to your round table or your soul chamber. You can just talk it out, in whatever moment you're in. You see how that works? All right. But keep in mind, your psychic level, which is your fourth level, is where your wise man and your wise woman focalize. That's their vibratory level. And they're the ones that are closest. Of your three upper rooms, that fourth room is closest to your lower three bodies. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
Of your three upper rooms, 4, 5, and 6 are your upper rooms.
Mm-hmm.
The fourth level is the closest to the human side
Okay.
in vibratory range. So that's the most accessible place of refuge. If you need it to talk it over with your body, you can go there, or you can certainly go to the soul. The God level's not interested in that, usually, unless you need a miracle healing, unless you've done the lower work, you've worked with your body, you've worked with your emotions, you've worked with your mind, you've worked with your higher self, you've worked with your soul. Then you go to the God self, and the God self might help you with your body, but you do that. The God